As we move from an age of internal combustion towards all-electric vehicles, it kind of feels like some manufacturers are giving us the equivalent of the last big firework in a display, the most spectacular and most exciting internal combustion cars that they can think of. And they don't come much more spectacular or exciting than a new Porsche 911 GT3. It's just been updated for the 2025 model year. We're here in Valencia driving it. There's both a winged version, this is one with a Weissach package, this is one without, and also the Touring, which is the sort of more demure looking road biased version. But this is going to be really, really good. There's not huge changes with the 911 GT3 here. We'll talk about the mechanical stuff when we're driving it later. It's all little detail changes. And the same applies to the visuals, not drastic alterations by any means whatsoever. You've got a different set of headlights now on the car. They've removed the lower lights that were formerly in the bumper, and as a result, that's changed what they call the front apron of the car down here. That's been redesigned, just slight tweaks. It's subtly different. One of the things, if you want to be a proper aficionado Porsche spotter, the changes on this, what they call the 992.2 GT3, from the 992.1, which is its immediate predecessor, is the wheels have changed. They've saved some weight on the standard wheel, 1.7 kilograms all around the car. And it's the way you spot that is there are now holes in the spokes just here. That's the new wheel design, but it's broadly very similar to the car it replaces. Okay, so continuing the visuals, we'll move around to the back of the car. This is a Weissach model. It's marked on the end of the spoiler here. In general, though, again, we're not talking drastic changes at all. It's very similar to the car that came before, but when it looks like this, does that matter? Swan neck rear spoiler, that's a thing of the winged cars, as they call them. That's the regular GT3, for want of a better word. So on all models, you're really looking for this altered light strip that goes across the back of the car. It's just been smoothed off. The light signatures have been changed a bit. And the diffuser area, again, is the change on this car. It's really, really minute fettling of the vehicle. It's not anything, you know, over the top. But these Weissach cars look really serious because, of course, they've got more carbon on the outside. They've got a more intense interior. You get a roll cage. You can team them up with lighter things like magnesium wheels to save fully 9 kilograms on the car. This is the one for track day aficionados. Winged car, Weissach package. Okay, now we're going out on track at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo, just outside Valencia. We're in a Weissach package winged GT3. We've already driven the non-Weissach package car on track here. I mean, it's incremental changes for this latest 911 GT3. They've tried to reduce friction in the steering, they've changed the bump stops in the suspension, they've done a host of weight-saving changes, things like you can have magnesium wheels to make it 9.1 kilograms even lighter than it is, all to keep the weight down. They've had to do work on the exhaust as well to get it to meet various emissions regulations. So it's got extra cats in the exhaust, 2 extra cats for 4 in total. But the outcome is still just one of the most scintillating cars you could possibly want to drive. Still got the 4-litre flat 6 at the back, revs to 9,000 RPM. You've got 503 brake horsepower, you know, a top speed approaching 200 miles an hour. And the noise is sublime, is absolutely epic. One of the great car soundtracks of all time. You know, it could be a little bit bittersweet here. We're possibly here driving a new GT3 for the last ever time, or certainly one that has a normally aspirated engine like this. But, you know, got to enjoy it while it still lasts. Customers have said, you know, GT3 customers have said, we don't want to have a hybrid drivetrain like this, been fitted to the other 911s in the range. It's currently fitted to the GTS model. You know, we don't want to have turbochargers. We just want normal aspiration, that flat 6 engine, the crisp linear throttle that you get. But a big part of the 911 GT3's joy has always been that there's no I mean, it's a very, very quick car. Let's not mess around. It's an incredibly quick car, you know, comfortably for sub 4 seconds to 0 to 62 miles an hour, you know, closer to 3 seconds in actual fact. It's not that so much as the way it goes around corners. It's just every part of this car is in balance with every other part of it. The steering is magnificent. You know, weighting, feel, feedback, consistency, the way the front of the car gets turned into a corner immediately. The brakes are majestic for a road car. I mean, you can really, really work them, and they don't experience a lot of fade. They're just full of bite and confidence. And both the pedal feel for the brakes and the steering are just, they're organic. They feel natural. You don't have to think about them. It's like the car goes exactly where you want to place it and reacts exactly how you want it to react. The suspension changes they've made, I mean, they didn't have to do an awful lot to the model it's replacing, the model it's directly replacing, because that was a brilliant car to drive, but it does feel a slightly less, I mean, the car had, or has, double wishbone front suspension, and it could feel quite skittish, nervous sometimes on the road, you know, but quite eager at the front end, because double wishbone suspension is very, very high end of suspension setup. Now it just feels so dependable that you can just rely entirely on the front end of the car, get it turned into corners, lean on the balance and grip, and it's just phenomenal. It's just a phenomenal car, and that engine, still a masterpiece.
However, if you're watching all of this and thinking, I don't have access to a track, nor do I ever wish to venture onto one, or alternatively you've looked at the winged model and reckon, as the old cliche goes, that it looks like it has crashed into a branch of Halfords, then don't discount this screaming 911 as an irrelevance, because there is another flavour of GT3 available that might be more to your tastes.
The 911 GT3 is a very track-focused car. It's very lightweight, very intense, high-revving engine, big spoilers, all that kind of thing. But it is ostensibly a road car, and so in the previous generation of 911, they introduced a model called the 911 GT3 Touring, and it continued for this generation, and it's continuing as well for this update. It's a less aggressive-looking car than the 911 GT3 with the wings that we were looking at earlier in the Weissach package. This is it with its spoiler in the raised position. This is an active spoiler, but it actually sits completely flush. So when the car's got this lift-out spoiler folded down, it's a really, really subtle looking car. It's absolutely stunning in oak green, by the way, on gold alloy. So this is basically the one that places even more emphasis on the road side of the GT3's character. Still a very, very sharp and involving car to drive, but you can see this is for people who aren't quite so into the big wings and all the track addenda. We've talked about exterior looks of the GT3 and what's changed. Not a lot. It's quite a subtle facelift on the outside. Inside there is a bit of a bigger change, which is that the car now has this 12.6-inch curved display digital instrument cluster. This has been seen on other Porsche models. It's a move not without controversy. The old car, the old GT3, had an analog central rev counter with digital screens either side, but it's fully digital now, so the analog rev counter is gone. Now, some people are upset about that. Some people say that's a loss of a bit of character of the GT3, and we can see where they're coming from. But the new one is designed to be even more legible. You can see it better at night. It's got more gradations on it. We're honestly not noticing any point where we think, well, I wish I'd go back to the analog dial. And another neat trick it does is, when you're on track and you turn the car through the, well, it's a Manatino, but it's a drive mode switch, rotary switch on the GT Sport steering wheel, it can rotate the rev counter upwards, so that basically 9,000 RPM is at the top of the dial instead of round to the right. So when you're on track, you know exactly when you need to shift up gear. Other details that differentiate a GT3 from any other 992 coupe model are it still has a proper central gear lever for its PDK system down here. It doesn't have the little razor-like stubby lever that the other cars have. And Porsche decided to keep the twist ignition key and the fixed ignition key in the dash down here, because they felt that on track, if you make a mistake on track, which you know shouldn't do, the car's absolutely brilliant, but if you make a mistake on track and you want to get it restarted again, you're not entirely sure pressing a button whether you're going to turn the ignition off or actually fire the engine up again. But with this thing, you know, turn it to the right, the car's going to fire up. So there's a few little differences in here from any other 911 in the range. But yeah, big changes to the digital instrument cluster, but it's still superb high quality. You've got these beautiful, even in this Touring, these beautiful bucket seats that hold and keep you in place. The steering wheel is perfection. The diameter, the feel, the look, it is the best steering wheel in the industry. Might sound like a weird accolade that, but can't tell you how important that is, especially in a driver's car like this. There's precious little in the world drives like a 911 GT3. Obviously this is the Touring, this is the one that places more emphasis on the road side of the character of the GT3. It's the one with no wings on the outside of it. It's got a slightly less intense interior. You can have the rear seats in this if you option them up, but you know, you can't have those in the winged model. But it's still that car that revs to 9,000 RPM. The steering is just intuitive. It's so natural, and you don't even think about it after a while. It's like it's in tune with your brain. You just turn the wheel, the car goes exactly where you want it to go within the millimeter, does it immediately. The brakes are fabulous. They're tuned and calibrated so sweetly. Pedal feel is fantastic. Loads and loads of bite. This is a car that, even in its heaviest specification, weighs less than 1.5 tons. So by modern standards, it's a real lightweight car. The damping is exquisite, because obviously this is a car that has to be quite firmly sprung. You can probably see the way it's fairly abrupt in its vertical movements, but it doesn't feel crashy and uncomfortable. It feels like a car you could drive for hundreds of miles at a time and just enjoy every single minute of it. It's just brilliant. So if you were wondering if it's lost any of its bite, no, it absolutely hasn't. Now this is a PDK, keen drivers will probably want the manual gearbox, the 6-speed manual gearbox. I guess the PDK might make more sense in the Touring as it is here, the manual possibly in the winged model because you're on track and you want that interaction. But you can't really fault the PDK either, it changes gear immediately. It's just a great gearbox, you know, smooth in its automatic modes, fast to respond on the paddles. You've got a side gate sequential lever down here that you can change gear on, and it's the correct way round because this is a Porsche. So you pull back for upper gear, push forward for down. That's with the weight transfer of the car, just the right way to do it. It's just a driving experience like no other. While all of Porsche's cars now, all the rest of the Porsche 911 range is a turbocharged. They've got turbocharged engines to try and save fuel, or they've even got a hybrid system, as we say on the GTS. This is an engine from the very top drawer. It's unbelievable, the noises it makes. The responsiveness, the linearity of the throttle. It's little short of exquisite, this car. Which makes us sad, because if this is the last ever new 911 GT3, then the world's going to be a poorer place without it.
But for all the Porsche's brilliance out on public roads, it's on track where owners are going to be best able to extract the GT3's glittering maximum potential. So I couldn't resist a final spin at Valencia in the hardcore model, and it all got a bit emotional.
If this is a sad moment, if this is the last time we drive a brand new GT3, Let's try not to dwell on what we're going to miss and just be thankful that it existed in the first place, because I don't think there's any finer sports car than this. It's just epic. Epic car.